Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. This is your Jee Sifu right here. Today is another interesting Taoism and Taoist magic talk show. Today I want to be a little bit down to earth, so we're going to talk about the movies and drama and culture and trend, these things that kind of inspired me to do this episode. If you have been a fan of Chinese drama TV shows like that, you will love what I'm saying here. Okay, so first of all, I am born in Hong Kong, right? So I grew up with the Hong Kong culture, and I watch a lot of Hong Kong movies when I was young, right? I'm born in the 80s, early 80s, very old now. So yeah, I used to watch those vampire shows and the kung fu movies and all that stuff. But one thing I find is that Hong Kong, starting from let's say the 60s and all the way up here now, they are very influenced by Buddhist culture. Like they always get confused about Buddhism and Taoism. It's weird, right? Like you ask a Hong Kong guy, and like, what's the difference? They might say, oh, it's almost the same thing, you know, because to them it's like, oh, they just burn incense, pray to the god, go to the temple, right? Burn some stuff. That's what it's about. Like most people don't understand the real meaning and concept behind the religion. Most people, like I'm talking about most people, you enter, let's say, a school and you talk to the kids about it and you ask them, most of them will just say, yeah, they're about the same. Right? Most of them will say that. Um, so, yeah, the TV shows, well, I mean, it's for entertainment purpose, so who cares? But the thing is, it creates this impact on the people that makes them even more confused. Okay, for example, you look at this drama called Journey to the West, okay, right? It's about that monkey king. There's a monk, there's a pig, and so on. And they went on a journey to India, okay, to like get their Buddhist scripture and all that. So it's supposed to be like a Buddhism story, right? But inside that Buddhism story, there's a lot of like Taoist element. For example, they talk about the heaven, the celestial court, and then they have like Jade Empire, and then all the generals and whatever army, right, up there coming down to fight the monkey and so on. Like there's a lot of Taoism stuff, and that monkey king um actually learned the magic, like his skills was learned from the Taoist. He went to a Taoist temple to learn, and then he got those skills, right? And then somehow he made a mess, and then he became a Buddhist later on because the monk saved him. Mind blown. Like, why? Oh, I mean, okay, wait a minute. Here, if you enter a Taoist temple to learn, that like in reality, right? No Taoist will teach you that much magic before your virtue is good. But that monkey was a troublemaker at the first place. Why did this Taoist even taught him so many things? Not possible, right? It's not possible. In real life, it's not possible. But that's what happened in the story. You know why this kind of thing happened? Because the story itself was made to bash the Buddhist, like bash the Taoism side. It tells you Buddhism is always on top of Taoism. Okay, when the Buddha come out, it's like, wow, all the king of the heaven, the queen of the heaven, all the Taoism level gods are like below, and they all look up to that Buddha that just fly over, and they're like, whoa, so big, you're like the big boss above. You can see how those story actually destroy Taoism, right? I it's like so annoying to me. And then you see there's a lot of martial art movie, right? If you know those Gum Yong story. The Gum Yong story is very, very famous. He is like a famous writer that writes those kung fu stories, right? A lot of kung fu stories, and those kung fu story involved a lot of like half real, half uh, fictional sect of martial art. And of course, if you know, right, there's like Shaolin and Wudang and all that, right? Okay, Siu Mo Dong. And these sects are like profiled in the story like Taoist, like Wudang, right? Is like they're good at sword, but they're also famous for creating perverts and bad guys. And then like they're selfish, they're jealous, and many problem inside. And then the Buddhists is always like the better ones and the more like high level ones, good virtue, and their kung fu is always higher than the Taoist. Okay, it's it's like the default setting. Why Buddhism is always put on top of Taoism? Come on, right? And that's why most Chinese are like, well, what religion do you like? Oh, Buddhism. Why Buddhism? I don't know. Yeah, because the TV is like brainwashing you from your childhood to when you grow up. Buddhism is like always beyond Taoism. That's how the TV show goes, right? Where do you learn that? TV shows, movies. Thank you. Oh my God. So disastrous. Well, I don't really like China as in their politics and, the communism and all that stuff, right? Not like I like America right now, but uh, right, I'm not into politics. But now I have been watching a lot of Mandarin China produced TV shows. Okay, and I can tell you they have like hyped up in this trend, this genre they call Xin Hub Kek or Yun Wan Kek. It's like the fantasy movie, but the fantasy is always based on like immortals, gods, and the demons and devils and different kind of like spirits, different realms. It's kind of like Lord of the Ring, right? But it's the Chinese version, maybe like that. Okay, so like it's very interesting. Um, they often use Taoism as the main foundation, you can say. But what I'm seeing is that they have been using a lot of like fusion in the graphic design. For example, they used like these formation and stuff like that from a made up thing that blends different culture designs into it. So you can see it's like definitely not a pure Taoism thing, but it's fine. I mean, like they made it up, right? It's a fantasy world. I mean, you play a video game like God of War, and everything is like fake. It's fictional. It's fine. I mean, it's a purpose. It's for entertainment. No problem. I have no problem watching that. It's like I just pay attention to the storyline, the actors, and it's fun, right? It kills time. Nice. At least they're not praising Buddhism over Taoism, right? And what I like so far is that they are giving people more and more Taoism vibe. Like, oh, you're rightful in the case in the drama. They are like writing full. They do some spells that are like semi real in Taoism. Like they take the real Taoism spell, they modified it a bit, right? And then just put it into the movie. It feels like, wow, it's so cool. It's like suddenly they made Taoism become a very cool thing, right? Very trendy. And I like that idea. So one more thing is they are not really Buddhismizing the movie. They don't have a lot of Buddhism inside. It's funny. It's like, yeah, maybe once a while you heard something is kind of Buddhist, but it's not really that Buddhism. Like they don't really put a Buddhism monk or the Buddha or whatever inside. Most of them are very Taoist. They talk about like the heaven, the immortal, the gods. It's like all very Taoism. And that trend from China is really good actually. Recently I have seen on TikTok that they are like promoting Taoism And so like China right now, you can like say I don't want to go to a normal university or something, and you can like actually go to this school that is like a Taoism school, right? And you can learn to become a Taoist, and then you can later on work in a temple or something like that, right? It's, well, it's not like I am really into that idea, but I kind of like this trend because it's like in general, right? It makes everyone in this uh, generation not to forget about Taoism or even belittle Taoism. It's like, oh, Taoism sucks. We need Buddhism on top, right? At least we're getting out of that trap, and I like that idea. I hope that Hong Kong will soon get better and kind of embraces because it's after all, you can say that Taoism is more like a Chinese religion. At least it's like on history, it started from China, right? And Buddhism is from India. It's like it's not even Chinese stuff, right? If you are in Hong Kong, you should know you're a Chinese, right? You're rooted there, so you speak Chinese. Why do you like so want to be a Buddhist? I don't get it. But anyway, it's yeah. Um, well, myself, I don't really like China China Taoism that much because I know the bad side of it. But right now, I am looking at what's happening in the world, like through TikToks and such. Like they are promoting things that actually I think it's a good idea. So even like I'm not into their political politics side, right? I still think that it's nice. One of the TikTok video was a Taoist master. He is like in a temple, and then they are making this video, right? And then they show an outsider was burning incense, and then the outsider was like that. Okay, that's what most Chinese do because they don't know how to greet the god properly in the Taoism fashion, right? Because they're so brainwashed by the Buddhism stuff on the media. And then this Taoist master come over and tell this guy, "Oh, you should not do this. This is very disrespectful. This is like from outside. Outside they mean like it's foreign things, right? It's not our own culture. You should be like this." And then they show you how they greet, right? So in a way, like they're teaching everyone how to greet properly if you enter their temple, which is what they know as Taoism, right? So if you enter a Taoism temple, you greet like that, it should be correct. That's how you should do it, right? Okay, I look at this and I'm like, wow, this is nice. Like actually, this kind of video is very needed because a lot of people don't understand the difference, right? So they are like using a lot of Buddhism culture, Buddhism things in the Taoism side. Now, this kind of like mixing also affected a lot of sect um, with their Taoist magic. If you look at like the Asian, like Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, these places, the Taoist magic that they do have a lot of Buddhism inside. It's weird. Okay, it's weird. It's like you see them like they write a food, right? The top of the food, they're like Buddha and then chickling and like why do you put a Buddha inside? Like, okay, I just want to say, don't we Taoism have our own God? I mean, like, don't you have your own God? Why do you need to put a Buddha there? And the Indian side or the Buddhism side, right? Have they ever like even agree that this is one of our branch? No, right? You're not one of their branch, and you're putting a Buddha in there. So it's so weird, Like you tell people like you are a Taoism, you do Taoist magic, and then you're writing down on the full paper, Buddha. It's 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 like, come on, it's like you put Jesus right there, right? And then mind blown. Don't you feel it's weird? Okay, so it is weird. And if you actually go back to like checking out the China's Taoism books, okay, those, like for example the famous one Taoist canon, right? The stuff they have inside are very Chinese and very Taoism, and they don't talk about Buddhism. So where does these like mixed stuff came from? I can only say one thing. It came from the 60s, 70s, like that generation when they're like always blending and like that. It came from that period. People just made up things by blending in the Buddha and everything inside because that's how the culture is. Ignorance. People don't understand, don't know, and then they just put it, smash it together because they don't know the difference. And you see the way how they hold incense. A lot of those Taoist sects are still doing Buddhism stuff to worship their Taoism god. It's so weird. To me, it's just so weird, right? So yeah, it's not something nice. Okay, but back to the topic of our show today, though. Um, for the media side, I am happy seeing that these kind of like this genre, right, with the immortal, the god, and all that kind of thing, right, mixed together. This fantasy movie or TV show, it's educating the new generation about the Taoism side of things. I like that. So if you are finding this show interesting, you can go and search, like for example, 2022, 2023 China or Chinese TV show or drama. You will see a lot of English subbed version of those on YouTube as well. A lot of them are pretty nice. I like those that like they're kind of like in their own fantasy world and they don't label it a Taoism or Buddhism or whatever religion. So they like you can clearly see the elements from Taoism, but you are not looking at a religious promotion video. I like that kind of thing. Like they make it like it's their own fantasy world, their own system inside. It's nice. Um, one of the nice show, one of the nice show that I can label, I can bring up right now out of memory. One is the Ice Fantasy. It's pretty nice. Very nice computer graphics. Very high end graphics. Nice. And another one is called the Qingwen, the Legend of Chu Xin. So you can check out these two if you like. They are nice. They have a lot of nice graphics, storyline, and it gives you some like vibes about how magic is like. I like that idea. Like you can now see magic, not like the Western kind of Harry Potter magic. Like it's like more Asian kind of magic. I like that vibe, and it's more real instead of like those westernized ones. Is like it's very fake. It doesn't work like that in real life. But in the Asian type, there are like some real elements to it. I like that. Check it out. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.